Hello, good evening, and welcome to round 3 of Jesse's tournament, the Moja Extravaganza in South Africa. How is everyone doing? Hello, Killer Foxhound, and hello, Jesse's chat. Let me check. Hello, John. Hello, Sergio. Better each time. Tomorrow will be a GoPro and Jesse's. There was some debating before, before the start to get the correct setup. So if you have any requests, now is the time. Hello, Screws. How are you doing? Thank you for that command. You're going to grab a cup of tea quick. Sounds like a great idea. Let me check because I don't have the live board yet, so if anyone can keep an eye on that. But for now, we're doing it with the camera. So 1 second. I think that's C3, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, because I really should be wearing glasses. But, yeah. I did get a URL that does not seem to be working. So we will just have to be very attentive to the game. Born in 2000, basically a baby. They were very friendly to each other before the game. They had a little laugh. Jessie complimented her opponent. So they seem to be great friends, and it's going to be a very kind match, but there will be fireworks on the board, I am sure. Probably start working in a little bit. Had to wait a little in round 2. Okay, I'll keep an eye on that as well. Okay, a move has been made. 1 moment. So I think that's d5. And immediately we are in a kind of strange looking opening. It seems that white is playing black and kind of that black is playing white, because Annika has all the space already, yeah. More presence in the center. Okay, taking a pawn. So takes and maybe d4. Could that be the plan? Hey, Double Click, how are you doing? Good to see you. Happy that you have found your way here for the third round and my final round of commentary. So exciting stuff. Let me hydrate. You're doing okay. Is it like the Sunday night? I just saw the title of an article about the Sunday. It was a really weird word. The Sunday saddies or something. I don't know. The blanket is on. True. Okay, I'm a bit confused as to why the opponent is thinking here. So, probably a good guess that they're already out of theory, or she's just trying to remember it. Because taking with the queen, it's interesting because there's no knight to c3 because the pawn is there, But your queen is out and about very early, so I think taking with the pawn is logical. And then immediately Jessie went for a think. Hasn't played yet. What are we thinking? If she plays d4, we'll have an interesting position with, if takes, then maybe you can even take with the knight and give black this isolated pawn. And if you are playing against the isolated pawn, you want to exchange minor pieces. And if you are playing with the minor pawn, you want to keep the minor pieces on the board and push this pawn as fast as you can when it's advantageous for you. So that's a bit the plan. Petition to extend the weekend all the way through Friday. Petition granted. Yes. That would be a big increase in quality of life, Killer Fox Hound. That would be nice. Ooh, okay. Let me quickly check that YouTube is also live. Did that mess up the camera? Maybe. No. Great. Perfect. Okay, YouTube is also live. There we go. Okay, now it messed up the camera. Great. There we go. Perfect. Hello, Guitar Geek. How are you doing? Okay, Jessie is looking around. A bit flabbergasted. What are they doing? Is that a flash? She does seem to be laughing. But it's like a can you believe this laugh, no? With her opponent. What are they looking at? Is she posing for a picture? She was distracted by something earlier as well, something going on near them. I don't know, we'll have to have a camera on the camera next time. Something is more interesting than the game. To be fair, like with the GoPro on the head, now we would have known what was happening. What made them be distracted. Okay, let me check the game feed in the meantime. No. Okay, a move played. So I think it's bishop b5 check. Let me actually add the names if I can do that. Let me check. How here? This button. Yes, white, black. Jessie February. No result? Should we already put in a result? No. Why did it find Jessie's opponent with the title, but not Jessie? That seems like a scam. Title WGM, you know? She deserves it. And then what is her current rating? It's nice and high. 2052. Very nice. The stuff dreams are made of. There we go. Okay, so Jessie is developing her bishop, getting ready to castle. We will need to find a place for this knight. Maybe in the future even this bishop could reroute here and then we would have a nice attack, a nice mating attack. I'm in the mood for a nice quick mate. Okay, I think she played bishop d7. Bishop d7, now we have this check. Oh, she doesn't do it. She immediately goes and takes. Jessie isn't shy to exchange her bishops. It's probably because she's a French player and she's like, the sooner I get rid of this light squared bishop, the better. It can't get stuck. I had a laugh. I don't know if anyone else noticed, but I watched... So Jessie is doing recap videos on YouTube and I watched the one from round 1. And her opponent played the French and she made some jokes about how... Because she loves playing the French and she hates playing against it because it's her pet opening. And then near the end of the videos, she said, oh, this bishop on c8 hasn't moved at all. And it just made me laugh because it's the French, you know. It's that bishop often, you know, doesn't move at all. So maybe she's just predisposed to exchanging it. So yeah, that was funny. Okay, she takes with the knight. And now a good quick castle. Hey cinnamon rolls, how are you doing? How is this Sunday treating you? We have a better angle in this round, which is very nice. We're very appreciative because earlier she was in the middle of the table, and it wasn't all that great to follow the game on a distance, but luckily now we are closer and have a better view. What is this board blocking the view? I know. Is she drinking from a pink coffee cup? Like the lid is pink. And it's like hot pink. It's interesting. You're fine, nice, nice. I am good. I'm good. Ready to chill here for a bit. Watch Jessie crush another soul. And then, yeah, go watch The Mole tonight. If you're from Belgium, you know what I mean. Well, if you're from Flanders, I guess. Hasino would get that. I don't know if you have any other Flemish people in the chat who know what The Mole is. Okay, the downside of only having, you know, no board and only having the camera, it's going to be difficult to switch away from the game. So let me quickly check if we have any games, any rounds, all rounds, round 3. So this is the official. But then I'll mess up my other board. There we go. That was the official, but it didn't have any moves yet. So we'll have to keep our eyes peeled. And yeah, like yesterday, if you have any questions, any burning desires, I don't know what I'm saying. It's Sunday evening. I've been outside. It's hot. I'm tired. But we are here to support Jessie. So she has a big rating gap between her and her opponent. Unfortunately, as they are both from South Africa, that doesn't really say much because the pool is more limited in South Africa. There's just not enough rating points to go around. So if you play within your own pool, then it's hard to gain rating. And I know that Jessie went to Europe and got some nice rating points from us. Asking chat about burning desires isn't a good idea. I know. I heard myself say it and I had a mini crisis while saying it. But sometimes, it's too late. It's already out there. Okay, bishop d6 played. They're taking their time to play these moves. They are still developing. I'm not sure what they're double checking at this stage because nothing is touching yet, so there's not really any concern for tactics. And I wonder if we will see d4 right now. I always hate it when black puts their bishop on this diagonal. It always seems a bit dangerous to me, I don't like getting attacked. I want to do the attacking. Hello, Night Wolf. How are you doing? Oh, Jessie played a move. Okay, I think she played rook e1. I'm good. Just squinting a lot at the camera. Maybe I should make it bigger. But yeah. Maybe I shouldn't touch it. Okay, knight e7 played to block the check and to allow the possibility of castling. So now we have to start thinking about our plans. One way to look at it. So first, if you're looking at a position and you're brand new to the position, it's good to zoom out and make an evaluation. I think that was d4. We should ask for top view over the board. She was joking. It was actually way high at the start. And then she said something about foreheads. And then John offered to put a GoPro on your forehead. So yeah, maybe that could be an idea. You pitch that to her, Nightwolf. I'm sure she'll listen to you. Okay, but I was talking about the position. So one thing is space. Who has the most space? And it's still pretty even, although black has a little bit more space because this pawn has made 2 steps while this pawn only has made 1 step. But it's not very significant at this moment. What else? King safety. So black hasn't castled yet, while white has castled, and there's no immediate danger. You do need to keep a bit of an eye on this diagonal, but this knight is nicely protecting it, and there's no light squared bishop anymore to kick it away or to trade it. So I would say that white is definitely safe. Black can easily and fastly castle, which I think she has done now. And now, now there's a question for Jessie. What is she going to do next? Some things to look out for is that this bishop is currently undefended. So it's always very important to keep track of your own undefended pieces if you don't want to blunder them away, but also your opponent's undefended pieces, and keep an eye out for any tactics that might arrive. Go prawn the king. Hey, chess time machine, how are you doing? Go prawn the king, that would be funny. Okay, so I think, well, I would take here. Why? Because it creates a weakness in the position of your opponents, because then this d5 pawn becomes isolated, meaning that there are no pawns next to it. It can never be protected by another pawn. Well, never, you can take something and then it's protected, but right now it can't be protected by another pawn. And that makes for a clear target. Then you know what to go for, and it's always easier to play moves if you know what your plan should be. And I feel like the moves would be kind of flowing by themselves, if you take, you develop your knight here, or your bishop here maybe, and then I might even think, like, what am I doing with my knight? Where do I want my knight? It's always nice to have a knight on f5, for example. She also talked about that in her first video, that if she went with her knight to f5, and then she said, but my opponent can play g6, but that's a weakening move. So she definitely has her eyes open for ideas like that. Do we already have... No moves yet. Do I have any moves? Okay, interesting. So she doesn't take, and she goes for bishop g5 immediately. So she is keeping a bit of the tension. She's trying to attack here, but this is defended twice, attacked twice, meaning that it's a loose piece, which is also very important to keep an eye out, because if you a loose piece is a piece that is defended as many times as it is attacked. And if you can remove a defender or somehow add a new attacker with tempo, then you can very often win material. Greetings, TFS, to Germany. You have moves? Ooh, we do have moves. However, that doesn't look like the game that we're watching on the camera. I don't think Jessie plays the English. And I know the board is cut off, but I don't want to mess up my other... So I somehow doubt that it's our game. I'm looking at the right one, right? Yeah. Two chances to win. Funny. Okay, what is black doing now? So they don't need to deal with this immediately. A lot of times players have a really hard time of doing nothing when there's a perceived threat. Like right now, this isn't really a danger because you don't really want to exchange your bishop for that knight. It's adequately defended, and it's really hard to attack it again with tempo. So a good move for black might be just push c4. Keep this pawn chain together and put white's pawns on dark squares, because Jessie has a dark squared bishop, which is not great to put your own pawns on dark squares. And while I'm saying that, her opponent is playing f6, which is a weakening move. I think she played f6. So like I said, she has a really hard time with waiting. Thank you for the follow, Mystery Man. How are you doing? You don't really want to be playing f6 because you've taken away the square from your knight. You're weakening the light squares. Now Jessie doesn't have a light square bishop anymore, so it's not that bad, but it's definitely a weakening move. Imagine if we see bishop h4 and then g5. That would be a very interesting turn of events. Suddenly, this d5 pawn is also very fragile, because now it's a direct way towards the king. So if you can take it without being taken yourself, it comes with tempo. So it's already a weakening move. It's no blunder, but I would say that it's dangerous. It sets you on the wrong path. Let me frame it like that. Okay, Jessie does go for bishop h4. And now we have our target. Okay, how do we continue? I wonder, instead of bishop h4, if you could take here. And then you're really making this very, very juicy. And then the line is takes, and now here, and you're crushing, because this knight has to move. Then you win this pawn. You have a very strong pawn. So, you know. Oh, you have bishop takes h2 check here. Oh, that is hilarious. Knight takes, pawn takes. Whew. Already some crazy lines to consider here, but Jessie didn't want any part of this and decided to go for bishop h4. The next board, let me check. No, that's also not them. Lone versus Haley. Let me check. Yes. Yes, this is the game. But we are faster. We are faster. They are deep in thought. Where did Jessie's coffee cup go to? Okay. What are we playing now as black? What is our goal? I still like c4. But I feel if you didn't play it before, are you going to play it now? Maybe with c4 she thinks like I'm blocking up things and maybe she doesn't want to do that. But what are you doing? Maybe queen b6 to attack the b2 pawn. Maybe rook e8 to add another defender. What do you think? What would you play in this position? And why? Thank you for the follow, Sunny J. Okay. Oh, knight f5 played. This was not on my radar. Because can't you take here now? The one thing is, if you move a piece, always stop and think, what was it defending? Is it defending something? And this knight did have the job of defending this pawn. And by moving it... Oh. Jessie didn't even hesitate. Immediately taking this pawn. She is on fire. Wow, are we winning? We are. We are. I think her opponent thought, I attack your bishop, you need to move your bishop. But for one, it's already defended. And yeah, we saw this very juicy pawn that is now undefended. And Jessie didn't hesitate. She went for it almost straight away, I think. If we were to look at the times, which we don't have, but yeah. Okay, taking here. Okay, that's just... No bishop takes h2 shenanigans. Yes, that's important. Thank you for the follow, Tess. But now we take on d5, and it's check. And isn't that just two beautiful pawns? Maybe even three beautiful pawns, although you'd have to double check if you can take on b7 later. Because the problem with taking on b7 is often rook b8 and then allowing the rook to come in, so you need to double check. Looks like we have a free pawn and bishop. Well, we did lose our bishop. Our bishop was taken. So currently we're down a piece for a pawn, so we do need to take. And I think after taking here, king moves, I would want to take here. No, actually, no. I want to take this. Oh, look at this. I want to take here. And then if takes, then you take like this. But then there's knight e5. But then you go back. Then you play queen d5 again. Can't you take on d6 with the queen? So the problem is, if you take on d6 here, then there's this check. And now you have to take with the pawn, and your pawn structure is ruined, and that's quite dangerous. So you can take here first, and then this bishop has to move, and you might... b7 is loose, but I think the best move is to take here with the pawn. Now this is a killer pawn, and if they take your knights, now you can take with the queen. So I was just thinking about knight e5, what we're doing in that case, but I think we can go back, defend our pawn, and next we really want to develop this knight. So maybe first is if knight f7, then rook d1, we're defending this. Okay, and Jessie goes in. So let's go to the live position. I think this is the live position. And yeah, I think after the king moves, c takes d6, and we're already doing very well. Who is playing black? WIM Annika Duplessis, if I were to guess on pronunciation. So exciting stuff. It's crazy how quickly, it always amazes me how quickly these games can turn from like basically a boring opening. Everything that's not c4 is boring in my eyes. So if we go back, I think already here after f6, I think that's already a step in the wrong direction. She really wanted to kick away this bishop and not keep any tension on this knight, but that's very dangerous because you're immediate. And I think I called it right with this taking here with check, which is a tempo. I think I literally said that, so nice, if I may say so myself. So now this knight f5 forgot that it had a protection job to do, but Jessie very quickly spotted that she can do this sequence. I guess she's South African too, because there's a cricketer called... Yes, she is from South Africa. I don't know if there are any players not from South Africa. I must admit that I did not check the player list. I know our other famous South Africans are not playing, I think. Okay, and so king h8 played, and c takes d6. And there are many other nations, really. Okay, apologies. In the ladies, I didn't check. I only have eyes for Jessie, I must admit. Am I Jessie's sister? I wish. I've been trying to get her mother, Jen, to adopt me for 2 or 3 years now. But Jessie doesn't want a sister. She said, no, thank you. Not even thank you. She just said no. No. Are you serious about the adoption? I think I'm a little old to be adopted at this point. I fear I've passed the age of... although, you can get adopted as an adult. It does happen. But I'm a bit old. Rude of her. Exactly. Exactly, Killer Foxhound. I agree. Hey, Truth, how are you doing? Good morning. I hear you had a crazy night. Okay, so after knight takes f3, queen takes f3, and then queen b6. What do we think about this position? Because you're attacking the d6 pawn and the b2 pawn. Okay. Her opponent did take, so we might see that. What are we doing then? So we have to give back a pawn, but that's okay, because we have a really good one on b6, so I definitely want to keep that one. During the long wait for game 1, we saw lots of blue uniforms, Namibia or Botswana. Interesting. Okay, so maybe then we play knight a3. And if takes, I want my knight to get active, you know? Takes, knight here, queen here. Where's my knight going? Can I jump it all the way over here and then checkmate? Are we going to see a checkmate on g7? Because this rook can also come in, and it could be very spicy. There we go. Not enough arrows. I was wondering, why is Jessie calculating? Is she really considering taking with the g-pawn? Maybe she is, because that way she gets to keep her pawn, okay, but she decided not to do it, which I think is good, because it's very weakening, and this knight could be quite annoying. So I'm happy to see that she took with the queen. Yeah. I'm expecting a queen b6 now. Queen b6, and then we have to develop our knight. Maybe even to d3, d2 actually, instead of knight a3. I don't really like my knight there. But then wait, what am I saying? Then you give that pawn, but then you can take there. Ah, that's why we don't go to d2. Okay, very important. If you have two moves, it's always important to consider what the difference is. Especially in puzzles, you know. Also in games, obviously, but in games it's a little bit more tricky sometimes to realize. But if you have in a puzzle two similar looking moves, try to work out what the difference is, and very often it will be something like this, because now on d2 it's on the same file as the pawn. So if the pawn is taken, suddenly the knight is under attack. So those are some things to keep in mind when you are playing or solving puzzles. Okay, having a good think. What are we doing now? Contemplating some life choices. Yeah, the game very quickly turned into a big advantage. Of course, you know, the players don't have the evaluation bar. They don't know for certain what the evaluation is. And even, you know, we're not computers. The computer might say that this is already plus, what is it saying, +3 something. But we're not computers. We won't play the perfect line every time. So... And I would be a little bit worried about Queen b6. Queen b6. Oh, no. So her opponent plays knight e5 instead, which I'm happy to see. Knight e5. Now immediately queen d5. Queen d5 is a no-brainer. Protect this pawn. Put your queen on a very, very central space. You don't want to... You might say, okay, but this pawn is free, but then you give this pawn. And the pawn on d6 is definitely more valuable than the pawn on b7. Why? Because this pawn is much further up the board. It's a real threat, and it has some ideas of promoting. While this pawn hasn't moved at all. It's off to the side of the board, and it's not that important right now. If we can win it later on, sure, then we'll take it. But for now, could I consider b3 to threat taking on b7 after, or is it too slow, too obvious? b3. Once you know your queen isn't attacked and the pawn is defended, then sure, I think it would be good to start running these pawns. So I don't hate to move b3. It's also very good that there are no bishops anymore, so there's no risk on this diagonal. I think if you have time for it, because that's the big question. Right now you haven't had time for it. Oh, this is my variant. So let's actually promote this one. Promote, there we go. You haven't had time yet, so if you can find the time, then sure, why not? Before her last move. But the thing is, if black didn't play knight e5, she probably would have played queen b6, for example, and then you still don't have time to play b3. So in general, if you ever have this position and there's nothing immediately hanging, you could play b3. Although, maybe even then, I would maybe choose to develop my knight first. Always make sure that your pieces are developed before making any pawn moves, because this pawn isn't really going anywhere. You can attack it later on, maybe first here and then put your rooks here and make sure that they are very nice and active. And then start looking for these pawn moves. But yeah. It all depends on if you have the time. And yeah. Do you think not letting out will hamper her endgame? What do you mean with not letting out? Okay, Jessie plays queen d5, which is great, very active. I love the move. Turkey, Mozambique, Botswana, Zambia, Namibia, Lesotho, Swaziland, South Africa in the ladies section. Nice. Queen... okay, Plahov. Thank you for the line. For me, no need to say where the piece came from, because that makes it a bit harder to read, but I'll try. Queen e2. Queen takes d6. knight d2, knight going to f3, and rook a1, d1. The problem with that is that you give up this pawn for nothing, and you don't have to. You can just go and protect it and hold on to it. This is a great pawn, so I don't want to give it up for nothing. That is a return to square move for the queen. She must not have been happy to play it. I think she's very happy to play queen d5. I understand where you're coming from, because it feels like if you move your piece away and you move your piece back, you have lost time, but that is not the case here. She moved her queen very deliberately so that she could take this knight, and she didn't have to play g takes f3, weakening her king. But this queen here is less good than on d5. So I think she's very happy to move it back in this case. The queen is proud of where she came from. So yeah, I think she's very happy with playing queen d5. It is the spot for the queen. I don't think she's like, oh no, I moved it away for nothing. Why did I do it? Moving away had a purpose, and moving it back also has a purpose. She just grabbed a snack. I like how you're thinking, cinnamon rolls. That name is gonna be a problem. I'm very hungry at this point. Okay, we are black. Time to get some snacks, you know. Usually I would be having dinner just about now. It's a delicious spaghetti bolognese, so something to look forward to. I wouldn't mind a nice crushing win. That would be sweet. Okay, so what are we doing now? So if knight f7, attacking this pawn twice, then we play rook d1, defend it. And there's no immediate attack possible, so then we have time to develop our knight, which is great. And if black plays something like queen b6, attacking this and making room for the rook to go there, what are we doing then? Also very important to notice, queen b6, there's a sneaky little attack. It's nothing major, but you have to keep an eye on it. Can't forget that this is happening. Could bribe you with baked goods if necessary. Bribe me for what? What are you bribing me for? Okay, so queen b6. Our b2 pawn is attacked. Do we mind? I mean, I think we mind a little. Not a lot. Very often, if this queen were to take this pawn, which is similar to if we were to take that pawn, then it can often be a poison pawn, meaning that our queen will be displaced and quite vulnerable. If you don't have enough squares, you might find yourself trapped. To accept your hand, I mean, it's here to stay, you know, it's fully accepted. It's just, it comes with hunger, you know. Although you want to bribe me to accept it, it's not accepted at all. Please send me those baked goods so that I accept it. I didn't think that one through. I didn't think that one through. You are a bit worried about the rook that's locked. Rightfully so, but we are getting it free in exchange for maybe this pawn. So I think if queen b6, then knight a3, and if this gets taken, I really want to jump in with my knight And this knight, you know, it is going places. And yes, we've given back the pawn, but we were up 2 pawns. So, you know, you can have that one. Ooh, what did she play? Okay, so she did play queen b6. So this is the live position. If I am not, in other words, if I've accepted, yes. Since you are hungry, I will not mention the ham, onion, pepper, mushroom, cheese omelette you had for breakfast. Thank you for not mentioning that. I appreciate it. The thing is, if I get too hungry, I start feeling dizzy. So now I'm very dizzy. Hey Plahoff, you can just say b3. You don't need to say where the piece came from. You can just say b3. That makes it a bit easier to read. b3. b3 now. I'm actually not the biggest fan because I think we need time, we need momentum. And if you play b3 now, it's quite slow, and you will allow a lot of pressure on this pawn. Something that's very important to learn is not to hang on to your material too much, especially in the endgame. Actually, it's activity over material. So your pieces need to be active. So now she needs to play. Well, she doesn't need to play, but I want her to play an active move, developing her knight. You can eat while talking. I don't know. Might not be a pretty sight. Imagine eating just my spaghetti. So I have b3. Can we calculate this? b3, rook d8, rook d1. But now already I'm thinking about knight g4 moves. And you're attacking this. And if you move your rook back, then you lose this pawn. So I think b3 is too slow. Let's see what the engine says. Develop your pieces in the endgame, yes. Okay, so the engine is not too happy about it. And I think because of this move, rook d1, and now, what about knight g4 now? Oh, this is actually fine. Because, oh, that's so nice. You can just intercept, okay. But what? Knight f7. Just focus on the pawn. I was getting too excited with wanting to checkmate. That's who I am, you know. Throw everything towards the king. But the computer is more reserved and says, let's just go and bang that pawn. Move played. Okay, I think she played knight d2. She played knight d2. Let's promote. Let's promote some more. Queen b6, promote. Knight d2. There we are. She also has rook e2, and if I rook to d8, she has rook d2. Yes, knight g4 didn't work. It was too optimistic. Hello, Springer, by the way. Is that just chosen because of the German word for knight? Free pawn Yes and no. It comes for a lot of activity because the thing is, after queen takes b2, you have knight c4. You're up a pawn still. So Jessie is up 2 pawns right now, so she can afford to give one back. As long as it's not this one, we like this one, we want to keep this one. So queen takes and now knight c4, because this knight is kind of pesky. It's very annoying. It defends this square, so we can't really push it that easily. And you don't want to play, for now it's even illegal right now, but in the future you don't really want to play f4 because it's a very weakening move. It's very dangerous if you have to step your king to h1. In the endgame, you want your king to be active and you want your king to be in the center. So you don't want it to be pushed away if it doesn't need to be pushed. So to get this knight away, you will need to exchange it for your knight. And that's fine because right now our knight is not very active or important. So I think we would be happy to exchange it. And if takes here, then takes here, and takes here, and then how are we taking? Are we taking with the queen? That's a very interesting game already. After knight c4, knight takes c4, queen takes c4, white will win. That is the hope. This pawn is very advanced, so it will be very difficult for Annika to keep it under control. How is YouTube doing? Okay, still running, nice. She is locked in, yes. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I do have a Twitch channel. I do stream a little bit. But yeah, nothing to the level of Jessie. It's not easy streaming. It's you need to talk a lot, and I'm not that good in talking. And you need to play chess a lot, and I'm I get nervous, unfortunately. I haven't lost my 100 rating points yet, if anyone is curious. I only lost about 20. So I recently got a new rating high in Blitz. And yeah, trying to savor it. But you know lots about chess. I think that's always debatable, right? I know... I know that there's so much that I don't know, which makes it hard sometimes to say that I know a lot. You know, I know more than some and less than others. How can you say this after yesterday's stream about talking? Yeah, but I mean, I've tried not to dwell on it, but it was fun. It was fun. We had a nice time. New rating high, yes. I'm quite proud of it. I reached 2400 in Leech's Blitz. So if you know me and you know that I regularly throw away like a minute out of panic or something, then it's nice to have a nice Blitz rating. Am I from South Africa? No, I am from Belgium. Would love to visit South Africa, though. I hear they have amazing wines and very cute elephants. So, I mean, sounds perfect. Just a bit far away and also hot, I hear, which is not great for me. But yeah. penguins. Why is Belgium a blocked word? Have you ever tried Belgium chocolate? I have once or twice in my life tried Belgian chocolate, yes. But are there penguins, native penguins? Because we have penguins in Belgium, but they weren't native. Yes. I like penguins. Okay, a move was made. Okay, I think she played rook d8. Once or twice this week. That's actually kind of accurate because it was Easter. And with Easter you get chocolate. And in Belgium, that is most definitely Belgian chocolate. We also have elephants on our chocolate, which is very cute. I was blanking on the name of the chocolate. It's Côte d'Or. Okay, Côte d'Or is a producer of Belgian chocolate. And it's with a very cute elephant. So, for example, there we go. There are penguins all over the southern hemisphere. No one living in the wild in the northern hemisphere. Oh. I could see some penguins. They are cute. Why we need to talk about this Belgium block. Was that on purpose? Belgian waffles, miss them. Okay, I hope the camera will be back. She has left the call, actually. Oh, I need to be careful. So I think we have lost the camera. You can only see my face in the call. So that's not great. Belgian chocolate and Lukaku, yes. Okay. Psychics, now is your time to shine. Let me check the live game, what the status is on that one. This one? Okay. It's with a delay. So this is the actual live game, but with a 15-minute delay. Where is the... There we go. Pro streamer at work. Don't look at the names. They can I change the names? Probably not. The names aren't accurate, but this is Jesse's game. Rebecca, Jesse, and Hannah are or have been living in places where penguins live. That is a yeah. The phone may have overheated again. That's very unfortunate. Screws, does your link to the live board work? Because mine doesn't. She said something about a new link. Oh, okay, now I have moves, but it's also not the right game. Okay, let me see if I can find the right game. Okay, I do have moves. Okay, so let's go back to this. Now I messed up my layout, which is always annoying. So if you're happy with it, not that you have much, well, you have all the choice. If you're not happy, you just close the stream. But we can follow the live game. She played knight e4. So I now have the moves, the secret moves on my phone. Wait, let me actually... So the call closed, so let me hide this. Oh, it actually closed itself, that's convenient. Pum, pum, pum. This. Okay. So, no cam. Wait, I do have that. And again, we can check the right game. Where's the game? Here. Here it is. Okay. Thanks, Cruz, for letting me know that this... It wasn't running... Well, I guess it was running, but just with the wrong names. So let me just adjust... Let me just adjust the board. Excellent English. There we go. There we go. And then I don't have to look at my phone. Thank you. Must be the game white made a great move. You can inspect the element to change the names. Okay, but wait. Let me... I can do this. Let me quickly hide this, just to, you know. And then inspect elements. I can do this. Inspect, there we go. And then and then find the name. Can I... Player name. Ah, there we go. And then now I need to edit text. This is a lot of work. Jesse, February. Yes. WCM, but she's not a WCM. Can I change the avatar? I know you can't see what I'm doing, but I'm messing with the with the chess title. Here, chess title. Can I change that? Delete. Okay. Delete and then delete rating. We all know she's cracked. We don't need the rating. Delete, there we go. And then the flag, while we're at it. Delete. And then Haley, we also need to replace. Can someone put in the chat, the name? Annika, that I can copy paste it. Well, actually, no, I have it here. Never mind. It's hard to copy paste. Why won't I copy paste? By now I could have just typed it, honestly. Could have just typed. Okay, Haley, player name there. There we are, Haley. Edit texts, there we go. Oh, Annika Duplessis, thank you. And then country flag, delete, player rating, delete. Title is also wrong, delete. There we go, beautiful. Let me show there we go. Oh no! The name! I changed the name. Why did it not save? For freaking... No moves were made yet. So let me hide that again. Inspect. Inspect. There we go. And then yes, and then here we need to change again. I swear I already changed it. Jesse February. Enter. And then we go out of this. It didn't save. Why does it not save? Some pro. But now I'm committed, you know? Now I can't leave it. I'm committed. Okay, maybe here. Okay, now change it again. Okay, I'm giving up, but I have a different way. I have a different plan. One moment. Do I have a picture of Jesse? This is a great picture. Save. Jesse. Ooh, I love that one. Can I take that one? Can I not save that? No, can I not? Wait. I have an idea. Anyone tell me if any of the moves have been played? While I'm doing God knows what. I want that one, so save. And then this is Jesse. Desktop, there we go, beautiful. And now we add it. There we go. Add source, browse, Jesse. There we go. Make it a bit bigger. Make it, there we go. Oh, and I also want the other one. Wait. Now that I'm on a roll. You'll soon see what I'm doing. I am a very pro streamer, so I'm doing it in edit mode. Wait, where is this? Okay. Save as. Oh, I just want the picture. I don't want the page. Can I not? All these pop-ups. My God. All files. Jesse2.png. Save. Let's see if that worked. Okay. Great. It's not the best. I needed a horizontal picture, but you know, we work with what we have. There we go. I'm happy with that. Okay, let me go back to the chat. What did I miss? we go. Maybe we need to switch them around, actually. Because that would be hilarious. Do I switch? Who votes to switch them? And then she's looking in shock, in amazement, to her great move. Okay, I'm gonna switch them. I like that. One moment. Move this, move that. There we go. Jessie goes here. Okay, but I don't want her to cover the eval bar. We need to see it in all its glory. And then we make this bigger. There we go. I don't know if she'll like it, but I like it. And she's not here right now, so... If this is the last commentary gig that I ever do for her, you'll know why. There we go. Oh. Just say it was like that when we found it. Nice. Best comment. Oh. Okay. Let's let's get back to the chess. I do need to change this a tiny bit. And then this a tiny bit. Okay. Okay, we have a move. Rook d7 played. I cannot see you accepting a commentator gig without adoption. I like your style. You're a briber. You're a briber. I like it. You have some good ideas to get me in. I like it. Nice. Now I fear that my commentator skills are, not enough to share her mother with me. But yes. Anyway, I really want to play knight c5 and then the rook goes back and then knight here. Unfortunately, knight c5 she will probably just take. So it's very important to keep track of what your pieces are doing. Right now this knight is defending this pawn and together with this queen, and it's attacked twice. For that reason, I think the best way is to add another defender, rook a d1. Again, we don't care that this pawn is hanging. If she were ever to take, then we can actually jump in with our knight, and our knight will become even more of a menace. So we will be very happy to see the opponent take on b2. So I think rook d1, and actually maybe if you want to, you can. I think you can actually play b3 now. You do have the time because there's nothing immediately pressing going on. You don't need to defend the pawn right now this second. So if you want to save it, you can play b3. However, when you're playing lower rated players and you've already seen that this grabbing the pawn is not good, it could be a very good idea to just leave it hanging, because it's very difficult to resist these free pawns. And if you know your opponent might make a mistake, let them. don't stop them. However, Jessie is, holding on to that pawn, which is also perfectly fine, by playing b3. It's always annoying when you're trying to explain a concept and saying like this move is better than the other move, in my opinion, and then they play the other move, but I'm here to, support Jessie and I don't want to say bad things about her moves as long as they're not blunders. And even then, I don't want to say bad things. It's always difficult. Anyway, all that to say, she played b3 and not rook a d1. But rook a d1 is coming. It is coming, I'm sure. Okay, so I think Annika will play rook f d8 and try to put more pressure on that pawn. And immediately I am already looking at moves like knight takes, f6 takes, and then take here, and then take and take. Unfortunately, it's too much. In the end, he'll just be down a rook for some pawns. But it's always something to keep in mind. Like Truth has said, that you always need to look at every move. What can I take? See, Truth, I listened to you. You would be an excellent coach. I need to stop asking you that. It's getting sad. Ignore that I said that. Okay, so rook f d8. No sacking of the piece, unfortunately. That's too much. But always check. It might be mate. Maybe c4 with the idea of playing c5, attacking the queen and defending the pawn with a pawn, which is always great. Yeah, c4. I think we have a couple of good easy moves to make. And on a personal preference, I also kind of like h3 in the future. Just, no back rank shenanigans, no knight jumping in and doing things here that we don't want doing. I've seen a lot of clips these last couple of months, actually, about unnecessary pawn moves, and people are always hating on that h3, h6 move. But, making luft is hardly unnecessary, is rarely unnecessary. It just depends on the timing. If you have something more pressing to do, then you don't have to play h3, but not getting back rank mate, it seems like a good goal. I think the threat of a back rank mate is the only thing saving Jessie's d-pawn. Yeah, because if you have to put the knight there and the rook there and you exchange everything, then in the end there will be rook e8. But this pawn is coming, so in 2 moves it will be very well cemented on d6, if that's what she wants to do. Thank you for the follow, chess8619. How did you come by those numbers? What do they mean? maybe born in 86, the 9th of January. Knight g4 played. Let's go. Okay, so Annika is trying to look at some attack. Interesting. So if Jessie now plays h3, is there some f5 thing going on? And then you take, and then you want to take here. I also have the engine lines on, and the engine lines say, you know what, ignore this and just play rook d1 or c4 or even queen f5. Oh, I actually like queen f5 because you're attacking both. You can just go back though, so it's not really anything dangerous right now. But I would be very tempted to play h3. Is it a mistake? Is there something? Maybe h3, rook takes d6? But even if you take... Well, actually, what am I saying? No, rook, you just take with the queen because the knight is defending. And then the knight is still defending this. So that doesn't work. You can't take there. Okay. Interesting. Who sees if there's something wrong with h3? I don't think I see anything wrong with it. So let's put it h3. The engine doesn't love it, but it's still fine. And the line is f5. I did say it. So if you take here now and take here, and now rook e2, and now you can take here. Okay, I see. And then you take this, but you've lost your very nice pawn, and this becomes a bit of a more technical endgame because now you're still up 2 pawns, but the pawns are a little less good than they were before. Okay, interesting. So that is why... Can I get back to the automatic? Do I need to refresh the page? But if I refresh the page, then the name will change. We'll see if it gets updated still. Okay, let me quickly refresh the page. Do we have a picture of Annika? Annika. I think this is her. It's always a bit risky if you don't know them very well. What link did you send? Let me check. Ah. Thanks, Waterfall. Does anyone know Annika? Wait, where did my picture go? There. That can confirm that I have the right player. There we go. I think so, but... Oh. Let's leave it. Okay, rook AD1 played. Nice. Use that picture, nobody will notice. Imagine. Okay, if now f5, you have knight c5, stepping in between this this diagonal, so that's good. And opening up this line. Okay, I am going to take a short break. I will leave the board up and I'll be right back. See you soon. Let me hide my face if I can find it. There we go. See you very soon. Okay, I am back and I should be unmuted. I see that I missed nothing. Annika is going into the tank and the position looks very difficult for her. It's what plan are we going for? What plan would you go for with black? Because you can't really just resign, right? It's too early to resign. So what are we doing with black? Maybe f5. F5 creates an immediate threat, is also trying to open up some lines, trying to add some pressure to this one thing that black has going for them. But the problem with f5, that knight c5 looks very logical, stepping into the diagonal, attacking the rook, and if the rook goes back, that's interesting. Because with f5, you also give your knight the option of going to f6. So f5, knight c5, rook d8. I don't think I want to play knight e6 because this looks like trouble that you don't need, right? Because now queen f4 is coming and this is a lot of pressure and I just don't want nothing to do with it. So f5, knight c5, rook d8. You can also play rook f7, but let's look at that later. Maybe then we play rook d2. With maybe an idea of doubling up either that way or that way. We're defending the pawn. But then you do have a little bit of a back rank risk. If you ever play here and then you take there and then this would be checkmate. So it is a bit weakening. Well, weakening. You're creating some counterplay. So how are we doing this? How are we winning? How are we converting this position? I actually gave that advice to my student the other day. He has made remarkable progress. Like I think he gained close to 100 FIDE points in. Well, 100 Belgian rating points because we were talking about Belgian rating. And they do an update every quarter, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, he gained a lot of rating points. And he has really improved in his puzzle solving skills. But now he says, like in my games, in my online games mainly, I have a bit of a problem with converting the win. Like I'm already winning, but how to actually finish it. And then one of the ideas that I gave him is if he's doing puzzles and you're winning a piece or you're winning material, always try to think for like 10, 20, 30 seconds. How am I going to actually convert this position? I might be up a piece, but you know, the opponent isn't required to resign. So try to think, okay, I'm going to attack that or that side. So yeah, here, how would you convert this position? You have a beautiful position. You're up 2 pawns. But what now? You can even continue the puzzle against the computer, yes. But then the problem is that the computer is really strong. Unless you go change the settings, I guess. But also, I don't know about you, but I don't love playing against the computer. I don't know. But yeah, you could if you have that kind of dedication. It's definitely a viable option. Rook e7, attack b2 looks like progress. Wait. What are you saying? Rook e7? Because this is e7. You don't know how many times when I'm looking at a puzzle and I'm looking at it for a couple of minutes and I'm like, I can't even find any ideas. And then turns out I'm looking for the wrong color. You don't want to know how often that has happened. b7. Yeah, I like attacking b7, definitely. That's definitely very interesting. And it would, if you could win b7 and exchange the queens in the process, then this is just, we just run all the way up there. You actually like playing OTB, but computers did teach you to see things, yes. Yes. But you need to use them in the right way, right? For example, analyzing your games the right way is very important. I was looking at an Italian YouTuber who was playing games, and then after the games he was analyzing them, but he was just clicking on the... Chess.com has some setting that if you click it, it shows you what you should have played. And he was just clicking on those. And then you're not really learning why what you played wasn't right. So you need to be very careful with that. He missed analyzing a great tactic that his opponent had, and also missed his opponent didn't play the correct tactic. And it's a very important tactic to know. Like there was a knight here and a rook here. Like he just put his rook there and the king was here. So the opponent could take the knight and then take the rook. So that was just a tactic that was in the position, and because of the way he analyzed, he didn't spot that. So I think that's a dangerous way of analyzing. You do that so often with the wrong color, yeah. And then the next time you say, I'll look at the little circle first and see who's playing, but 10 puzzles later, you're just... you're in the flow again and you forgot, and yeah. Okay, what are we doing here? So Annika has doubled. There are now 3 attackers on this pawn. But we have 3 defenders and she has to take first. So mathematically speaking, we are still fine. Also, there's probably a back rank mate somewhere there. So takes, and we already have this back rank mate. So it's an empty threat. But I expect that sooner or later we'll see an ugly, weakening but love creating h6 move. And why is it ugly now? Well, before I was advocating for Jessie to play it, is because there's already a pawn on f6, and then this is just going to be quite ugly because these light squares are very weak as there are no pawns to protect them. I'm now looking at queen f5, and if knight here, I'm wondering if you can take... Hello Drillbox, am I your first viewer from India? No. Thank you for the follow, but no. You haven't been taught to analyze your games, but I'd like to run a full game analysis to find key points in your games and look at the mistake it says at the key points. Yes, that's definitely a good way to start. There are people that say like first you need to analyze it without the computer, which, you know, yes, but also who has time for that? Like if you're playing a bunch of games, you don't want to spend an hour on every analysis. So if I'm playing a Blitz game, I hit that analysis button after I'm done, and then I check, you know, where the where the highs and the lows were, and if I missed anything, if my opponent missed anything, and then look at those tactics a little more closely. And also, if it's just a steady line going like this, it's also interesting to see at which points you could have made a different move. Or I also like to remember the points where I was hesitating, where I lost quite some time and I was going back and forth, like, what do I do now? Either I don't know, or I'm debating between two moves. So those points are also very interesting to look at just quickly with the computer, because if you look at two moves and the computer says they're both fine, then you can tell yourself next time, like, okay, I don't see an immediate reason why one or the other move is better. I'll just play one. It's probably interchangeable. And then, you know, to trust your instincts a bit more. And then, like 1 in 10, there will be a big difference, but not, you need to have good time management in online Blitz. In OTB Blitz as well, but in Blitz, you need to have good time management. And even in Rapid, like you can't go tanking several minutes for one move. So debating between two moves or not knowing what to do. So, and if you don't know what to do, it's good to go back to that point and see what the top 2 or 3 moves are from the engine that are kind of similar in evaluation. And then look at them and think like, why didn't I consider these moves? Or why didn't I think they were good enough? And then you will learn a lot. Yeah. Thank you so much, DoubleClick, for the 100 bits. A roller coaster, yes. I had this. I sent a screenshot of it. I had this game where I was like, ooh, you know, we both missed the tactic that was in the position, and the engine was having a field day. Now you think that rook on d7 is trapped after knight c5. Yes. The thing is, there's still this weak point. I would love to resolve that before winning that exchange. So if we play knight c5, I mean, black has to make some loft, has to play h6, I feel. Otherwise, you're just getting back rank mated into oblivion. But now the problem, I don't want to take already because there's this and that looks really nasty. I don't want to run into that. I don't want to give counterplay to my opponent. So what would we do after this? Do we have rook e6? And if you say, okay, nice, I can liberate my rook because now this is no longer attacked, do we then have d7? And if queen c7, then rook e8, and then rook f8, and then knight e6? Or maybe you take first, you take one of these first. Do we have that? Okay, let me put that on the board because that's cute. h6 and now rook e6, and if rook f7. Okay, the computer doesn't recommend it, but if I play it anyway, d7. Oh, you can't take. No, wait. No, take like this. That's better. Oh, that's nasty. But now takes. And now again this. Okay. So too soon. Too soon. Okay. I see. But that would have been... That's a very interesting line to look at. Okay. Okay, but Jessie goes for h3, which makes a lot of sense to me. Like, I need that Luft, you know? I want to escape. So now knight e5 seems logical. And then we need to come in. Can we play queen e6 with the idea of taking? I'm still, you know, I still want to sacrifice some material. Annika is getting into a bit of time trouble. She's nearing the 20-minute mark. Does anyone actually know the time control? Because I don't. Do you have additional time at move 40? I don't know. Who wants to look it up for me? Okay, knight e5 played. I think you can also just be calm and sensible and play c4. And cement that pawn. Look, Jessie being calm and sensible. Here I was. I wanted to go caveman style, cave woman style, and sacrifice some more pieces. But Jessie says no. We don't need to take the risk. We are just, you know, walking our pawns to promotion, and that is why she is the stronger OTB player. She has the higher rating. Cool, calm, and collected. Now for black, it's getting really difficult to find moves. Again, h6, as ugly as it is. h6. But then, can you play c5 already? Yeah. Time control, 90 minutes each, plus 30 seconds increment. Thank you, cinnamon rolls. So no additional time on move 40. Okay, h6 played. Let's see that technique, Jessie. Some nice conversion technique. c5 played, let's go. Look at those pawns go. Okay, the one thing that you need to be a little careful about, I feel, is not allowing to get this locked up too much. You need to have this mobility of going forward. So if queen c6, I don't really want to take, I think, because that looks a bit difficult to break through later if this pawn is defending these squares. So after queen c6, if you play knight c3 to be able to take here, is there some rook c8, but then maybe b4? Okay, what if queen a5? Attacking the a2 pawn, not that we really care about that pawn, but I'm still thinking about this. The only drawback is that you take so many pawns that these files are getting opened, but I think that black doesn't have enough time to get there. Okay, queen b4 played. Okay. Okay, now I really want queen e6. Get in there, Jesse. Yeah. You have to calculate knight d3 though. Knight d3 would be funny, because if you take, then take, and that could be a bit annoying. But I wonder if it's still just winning. What does the engine say after this? Can you actually take? I really want to take here, by the way. Still. It's still winning. It's still winning. So it's still fine. Okay. Whoa. Whoa. Jesse is going for f4. Wow. That is daring. I'm not the biggest fan of this move, because now you're opening up this. And with a queen, you always have to be very, very careful for perpetuals. And if you weaken your king side, it's still fine, you know? Still, the engine says it's fine, but I'm holding my breath. This looks a bit spicy. Thanks for the follow, Jumpy. Heimpand is very active with his mouse and keyboard in the background. Yes. I don't know how I need to filter that out. But yeah. You would have preferred rook e3, yes. Me too. I think that would have made us feel safer. But still fine. Now queen f5. So yeah, Jessie has 52 minutes against 18. But now she needs to be a little bit more careful. I think she really wanted to kick this knight away, but a different way was also like this queen e6 plan, right? So queen e6, it's imagine a move for black, then takes, and then takes, and this is how we dislodge that knight as well. So there are several ways of dislodging a piece, and one of them is to kick them away, attack them with something of lesser or equal value, or eliminate the defender. You have two options. Okay, I think she played queen f5. Let's go. If knight f8. We don't need to sacrifice, do we? Knight f8, but can we? It's not great, so it's too soon. But takes, ooh, but you can't take. And now rook. Where are we going? Can I go here? No, because you take here and then it's pinned. Okay, so let's go here. No, where are we going? Rook e7, but what if you take? Oh my god, fearless, absolutely fearless. But it works. Okay, knight f8 played. I wouldn't mind a move like king h2 to just step out of this check or any bank rank checks, just to, you know, tuck your king away. And black is paralyzed, actually. I don't see any move that black can make. So what do we think? Is Jessie going to be very aggressive and take on f6? Or is she going to be very safe and play king h2? Or do you see a third option? Imagine if she plays something like g4, you know, really go for it, really throw that pawn on the board, up the board. King h2. Let's all manifest king h2. I think that's the safest, you know. So, king h2. It's a shame that we lost the camera. Would have been very nice to see her win. Hey, Gadzinisco. What do you mean? That is Jessie just perpetually in awe of her own game. So, weren't there going to be 3 cameras in the hall? Really? I haven't. I don't know. Sure, Jessie is holding back the smile. At least the chess side has her game, albeit delayed. Yes, but I'm actually looking at the live game, not the delay. So that's nice. At least we have that. But we did have a live camera. Unfortunately, it broke for some reason, so we lost the feed a while back. And luckily we do have this live board, otherwise I might have had to call it. I can't do 2 streams of just chatting in a row. Like, I don't have enough material to carry that conversation. Okay, Jessie going into a bit of a think, and it's a good time to think because this is definitely a game finishing moment. Like, the next couple of moves are going to be quite important. So I would start with King H2 like we discussed, just safely make sure that there are no nasty checks in the future. And then how to continue after that. So King H2. I don't know what black would play, honestly. Maybe it can't even play B6 because then there's, after B6 there's C6. So that doesn't work. It's also one other reason to get your king away is, for example, if you stay here and there is B6 and you play C6 and then there's rook takes, and it doesn't quite work, unfortunately, but let's just say for science sake that it does work, then there would be this taking here with check, king has to move, and then you can take there. Unfortunately, it doesn't work because you don't have enough defenders, but those are the things that you have to keep in mind, these in-between moves with check, and that would be that could be a risk. So luckily it doesn't work right now because black doesn't have enough attackers on the d6 square, but you still need to calculate it. Thank you for the follow, Anushk. Start the Marapan joke book. I think that would be a very small, thin book. I'm not funny. Hey Scorelli, how are you doing? Knight takes f6 maybe already wins. I wanted to play knight takes f6. It doesn't quite win yet, but we actually didn't look at it why. So knight takes f6. If g takes f6, it's winning. But there was a move for black that made it only +1. Could it be rook f7? Because you're defending against the mate with the knight on f8, so you have time. So let's actually check with the engine, but knight takes, yeah, rook f7 is a saver. You're still better, but not by, you know, still with a lot, but you don't want to give any counterplay to your opponents. But Scorelli, I've been eyeing knight takes f6 for like 10 moves now, something like that. I really want it to happen. Aw, thank you, Gatsinisko. Anushk, how long have you been playing chess? I have been playing chess since I was 7 years old, and as I am now freshly 18. Yeah, no. I've been playing chess for... How old am I? Too much mods. I guess around 25 years now. Just turned 18, yeah. I mean, I could get away with it, right? So around 25 years, but I did have a big break somewhere in between for a 5+ years, something like that. And unfortunately, as a child, I didn't study chess. I just played tournaments, and I didn't put in the work. So imagine what I could have been. What's my ELO rating? So on which platform? Because I haven't really played a decent OTB. But online I am... on Leeches? Now I can say on Leeches Blitz, I am 2400. I don't really play on chess.com. But I would imagine that if I were to play on chess.com, I think the higher you get, the closer the gap between chess.com and Leeches gets. So I should probably be somewhere around 2300 on chess.com. But I don't play on chess.com. I'm just here for Jessie. So yeah. I do really like chess.com. The lessons are great. They have a great library filled with little lessons. Knight F2, wow. Wow, I don't think anyone, like if anyone is playing vote chess, I don't think anyone would have gone for knight f2. What is the plan with knight f2? Does she want rook e7? And so she's getting her knight out of the way? What is your rating, Anushk? And do you have any goals? How many marapons does it take to change a light bulb? Too many. Hey Laplaham, can she sack the knight on h6 at a point? I really hope so. We've been rooting for a knight sack on f6, but maybe she wants to go to h6 instead. Sounds like a good plan to me. One question, why do people write each move on a paper while playing tournaments? It's something from the olden days when the games weren't tracked. Even now, a lot of games are not on DGT boards, so if you want to remember them, you need to write them down. Also, it helps for any disputes. For example, one player made a legal move and then you have to go back. An illegal move, you know, if it's a legal move, it's fine. An illegal move, and then you have to go back to the right position, and then the score sheets can help as well. So, oh, nice. You're learning. Good. Chess.com has a lot of really good resources and puzzles. Do a lot of puzzles, and you'll do puzzles the right way. So don't look for one move and make the move. Look for the whole puzzle first. That's my best improvement tip. But yeah, there are a couple of reasons to notate. But for example, in Blitz, you don't notate because you don't have enough time. And then you also don't have the game if you're not playing on a DGT board. So still think rook e7 is the plan, but that avoids any checks. Nice. One, as long as the bulb unscrews. I like that one. 4 marapons, 3 marapons make a detailed positional plan. 1 executes the light bulb change. That sounds like me. Queen a5. Okay, maybe now Annika is getting ready to pin this queen. And she wants to play b6. Again, like, this pawn is under attack, but we don't really care about that pawn, you know? We're going for the kill. For rapid OTB, you just notate the first 10 moves or so. I don't know the rules. Like, in classical, you're actually obliged. Like, you have to. It's mandatory to write the moves. And in most cases, even in time trouble, like if you have a 30-second increment, I think you have to write the moves for the whole game. I don't know the rules for rapid. I never actually played OTB rapid. Not that I can remember. I don't think I have a rapid rating. Do you consider the puzzle failed if it continues beyond what you calculated? Mentally, honestly, yes. Like, I'm happy with the points if I'm doing it online. But yeah, it's you should try to see as far as possible. If you missed something, then you might miss it in a real game, and it might actually trip you up. That's something that I also like to do with my students. With one of my students, when he shows me one of his games, and I go into a sideline, and then I say, "What would you have done here?" And often he makes a mistake because he didn't consider that. He didn't think about it, and then he's surprised, reacts, and yeah, that's when you can make mistakes. I think if you're under 5 minutes, you don't have to write moves even in classical. I'm pretty sure you do if you have increments, that you have to. If there's increment, I think you need to keep writing. But yeah, I'm not an arbiter. Where's Chexy when we need him? You don't take notation in rapid. Rook takes d6 by black threatened. Well, that's also nice. That's nice because... oh, that's interesting. I think takes... If you take with the pawn, then you lose your queen. So that would be sad. Okay, so that's a very good point. It's not only b6, but also rook takes d6. Rook takes d6, rook takes, queen takes check, king here. And if takes, push. And then queen here. And we can't promote. So good eye. I think we want to move the queen. You're right about the rules. You can't stop the notation under 5 minutes unless you have at least 30-second increment. Yeah, and these days 30-second increment is very current, right? The last trick by black. It's good that she keeps fighting. Well, less good for us because we just want to win and go home. But it's good for her that she keeps fighting. Funny, the engine recommends b4. b4 takes and then rook e7. But you need a lot of nerves to play rook e7. So b4 takes, rook here, takes. And if... Well, actually it's defended now, so... No, but if you take here, then there's this check. So we don't want that. So we go out of the way, and now we threaten to promote one of these. Okay, a move was made. Hello, Vredekend. Knight d3. Okay, and now rook takes d6. Oh la la, okay, we need to be careful now. But I wonder, rook takes d6. Is she looking at b4 then? Queen b5, a4? And then queen d7. Oh, that's a crazy line. I wonder if this is what she's thinking, that she can get away with it and she didn't see queen d7. Because very often in a calculation it's difficult to see 3 moves further that this rook is no longer on d7. So the square is now free. B4 tempo leads to madness. I don't think I would have played it in a classical game. Just the whole rook e7 story looks a bit... I would have to calculate it for quite a while to make sure that I'm not missing anything. Okay, will we now see rook d6? The problem with this whole sequence, so the line is rook takes d6, b4. So if the queen moves somewhere, then we're happy and we can take this. But the queen needs to stay here. If you take here, then you lose the queen. So that's the whole point. But now a4, and the problem now is that d7 is free. And you don't have time to take here because then you lose the queen again. And if you take here, then she takes with the rook. You are still up a pawn. So I guess you can force an exchange. Takes. And now try to win this endgame, but it's not that easy. It's definitely easier to make a mistake here, I feel. Okay, but a move was played, and it was queen takes a2. So unfortunately for Annika, she did not see this. Hey, truth. And a lesson on the caps lock key. Okay, what do we think that she will play now? b4? Rook e7, yes. Rook e7, but what after queen takes b3? So rook e7, queen takes b3, and you're attacking this rook? Snatching a useless pawn. Yes, but yes, she could have snatched a useful pawn. Yes. Just rook e1, so rook e7 takes rook e1. But the problem is that you're not actually threatening something already, right? With your rook on e7 right now. And you're giving up quite a lot. So it should probably still be okay, but did you have to give that much counterplay? So what are we saying? Rook here takes, and then rook e1. And if we now play a5 and say, okay, I'm going to promote, and we play queen g4, do you have to play queen g8 to stop the mate? So you can't take this knight. Okay, but queen g8 is very ugly. That's a very ugly move. The problem is that, yes, you're much, much better, but you actually need to checkmate, you know? Does b4, b5 work here? At the start? So here, b4, b5. Rook e7 played, nice. Yeah, b4 worked. That was a good move. I find Jessie has a very interesting playstyle. Sometimes she is just very aggressive. Like, you know, she doesn't care about these pawns. She gives them all up. Come take them. They're free. And other times she's very defensive. Like with the knight f2 and then the knight d3. That was way calmer. So yeah, it's a very interesting combination to see. Let's just hope that there's no one move oversight. In the Olympiad, she was overcautious. Yes. Yes. But wasn't it also because she wanted to protect her rating, if I remember well? Like, you always have this instinct, but here, of course, as well, she's 300 rating points higher, right? 200, 300, something like that. So if she were to draw or lose, that would cost a lot of rating points. Asino, congratulations, you won your game. Congratulations, well done. Really is your thing to not play for 3 weeks and then crush it. Well, you found the formula. Congratulations. Zen master. That is the key. Being Zen is definitely the key. The only key to control the nerves, if only I knew how to do that every game. If you ever figure that out, please let me know. In the meantime, our nerves are getting tested right here in this game because Jessie is playing some aggressive moves. Hey, opponent, yes. So yeah, 310, if I can still do math. It's a lot of rating points. Wonder if the quality of opponents might impact the playstyle. Since she is used to being the stronger player, she might be used to just wait on blunders. Yeah, that's usually that could be a good strategy against weaker players, because often they don't know how to sit on a position and they want to force something for to happen, but you also leave yourself open to these things, right? And you need to be very careful not to play hope chess. But I think Jessie just hadn't seen it herself, otherwise she wouldn't have allowed this. But yeah. If queen takes b3, rook e1. If she doesn't take on e7, then rook e8, threatening to take the knight. She would be cooking if she sees that. Wait, so what are you saying? Queen takes b3, rook. What is your line? Because now rook e8. So rook e1. And then if she doesn't take on e7, then rook e8, threatening to take them. Oh, that's cute. So a5, and then this is the line, right, that you're saying? And if now, for example, a4, then you can... The problem is that your knight is hanging in the end, because the queen is the only piece defending it. And for this to work, you need this. Now, of course, we're happy with exchanges. We're up in material. I think it helps that now this is also hanging, so maybe I could have done some better moves for black. So yeah, we wouldn't be opposed to mass exchanges, as long as they're at least equal. Sure, you would improve when you get a coach, and you like to do that one day, but first I'm gonna learn some yoga or stress exercises or something. Yeah, yoga. Okay, 8 minutes for Annika against 35 minutes for Jessie. So Jessie has been burning some of her time. We're used to her playing quite quickly in these games, but now she is feeling it. So Annika did take on b3. Okay, this is the... And this is the thing, right? Now the material advantage is gone. She has, in the last couple of moves, given the 2 pawns back. And while we see with the engine that she's still completely winning, Jessie doesn't have an engine. So maybe she might be thinking like, oh no, I gave away my pawns. But hopefully she's not. Hopefully she's like, oh, I sacrificed those pawns. And I'm just going to get to mate very, very soon. Not caring seems to be my greatest trump card, actually. How do you not care, though? If you don't care, why bother, you know? My boss said that to me, that I need to stop caring about doing my job well. Yeah, I'll have to figure out how to filter the mouse sounds. You would not have given those pawns back. Yeah, no, same. It feels now suddenly it's getting quite spicy. You're a taker, not a giver. You know? Yeah. Okay, let's see. 7 minutes for Annika. Let's see how it goes. Let me actually take a quick break. I'll be right back. Okay, I am back. Okay, 5 minutes for Annika, so the move should be coming in soon. Well, fast is what I wanted to say. And we might get an end soon, but I don't love that she gave away these pawns. Now Queen G4 seems logical, then Queen G8, but then how do you actually finish the game? Maybe you play f5 and then knight f4 and knight e6. Would that work? Yeah. Not g6 for black instead of queen g8. Hi, DJ Connell. Queen g4, g6. That looks interesting. It looks very dangerous, so I didn't consider it. Because then you don't have any defense. I think you can play queen h4. And you're attacking both. And I don't think you can defend both. You do have queen d4 check. King moves. And then h5. But you're creating more weaknesses. So it to my eye it looks dangerous. Okay, but Jessie is going for a simplification. She wants to trade one pair of rooks, which makes sense. If rook takes d7, then I'm sure we will fly in. And if knight takes, then I'm sure we will fly in. Okay, but Annika has less than 5 minutes to make this really important decision. Well, the next couple of moves are going to be really important. If she were able to neutralize this, then she might have some real chances, but yeah. Okay, now rook e7. And knight f8. And then we still have this plan, right? We can still go like this. Queen g8 refitted would have been better. I think she'd go in the defense. Ties? That's actually, well, also after rook e7, maybe you go here. And then if this, you have... It looks very passive though from black. They flame autocorrect. It's definitely not refit. That makes more sense. That makes more sense. Oh, like, you refit it? I was thinking, after rook e7, if that knight moves, can you take on b7, or is that too greedy? So, knight e7, the knight moves somewhere, maybe even there, and if you then take here. Because then we have our material, like, we have one pawn back, and we can maybe start pushing this. So that could be a good option. And because of this this Luft and this is protecting each other, yeah, it's still reasonably safe. Come on, Jessie. Hello, Hipside. How are you doing? Queen needs to move. She be standing still too long. I agree. I agree. The queen on f5 was actually in a bit of a dangerous spot earlier because there was a queen on a5, and then this could have been taken because this pawn was pinned. Fortunately for us, Annika missed this nice tactic. But yeah, she needs to get in there and finish finish the game. I'm wondering why she's thinking about this move. Like if you go for this sequence of exchanging rooks. Okay, rook e7 played. I guess she was just triple checking that everything was fine, which is, you know, not the worst idea. So just triple checking, it all works. Because you do need to be a bit careful. If you somehow manage to kick this queen away, you don't want to lose your knight. Okay. Huh. The engine is saying queen b3. And why can you not just take this? Takes, takes, and now takes. And now how do you finish the game? Queen e8, king here, and d7, right? There's no perpetual. Check here, and now if you want to... You can even just promote, which is funny, because there's still no perpetual, because now you can just run and put one of the queens in between. That's the beauty of having two queens, that you can exchange one and still keep one. Okay, instead of... Hello, Renato Yaruns. Probably butchered that. Instead of rook takes b7, if rook c7, looking for d7, rook c8. Oh, that's interesting. So instead of... So if the knight moves, rook c7. And you want d7 and rook c8. That's interesting. I guess there's a scenario where you get the queen back to a5 and protect this way. But it should be crushing enough as well. Yeah, that looks also like a good plan. I like it. Well found. Okay, queen b5 played instead. I have to say I'm getting a bit nervous. Our pieces are less protected than they were before. So it might be not that hard to make a mistake here. So I'm getting a little bit nervous. Our knight is in a really bad spot on d3. It's undefended. It's well, I mean, it's defended by the queen, but we don't want to use our best piece to defend a knight. And the problem is now you have queen g4, but there's rook g8. And if you take here, then Annika will take there. I guess you can still pick up this. And it should still work. 24 minutes for Jessie. What would you play as white here? I might consider playing something like... it's funny, we have this again, so is b6 coming? Gandalf, you would play queen h7? Queen g4? A 30 stream streak, wow. Wow, that's very impressive. Is there anything wrong with queen g6? But how do you finish? After queen g6, rook g8? How do you continue? Because now this pawn is attacked twice. So if you move the queen, it loses one of its protectors. And the rook can't move, yes, but also your queen and your rook are kind of occupied. So it's difficult. It's difficult to find the way forward here. I think, you know, king h2 still. But it's one of those moves that we're not really looking at, I think, until you suddenly see it. But just a waiting move. But after king h2, b6, how would we react? King h2, yes, let's go, Jessie. Takes too much time, I guess, to get the knight in position again. Yes, yes, the knight isn't really working for us right now. So that's why we wanted it sacked here on f6 like 10 moves ago. And we wouldn't have had this issue. Okay, king h2, great. 4 minutes for Annika. So we were looking, well, I was looking at b6. b6. But then you have queen g4, rook g8. Takes one way or the other, maybe this way, takes, and then c6. So I guess that's always the problem, right? With pushing b6, that you leave c6 open. Could you go knight b4, sack, and then trade off? Wow. Thank you so much, John, for the huge raid. How are you doing? Welcome, welcome. We are watching Jessie play round 3 of her tournament. Unfortunately, we lost the camera feed, so we are... I have found a replacement, you know, nobody knows the difference. This is Jessie live just in constant awe of her own game. So yeah, thank you so much for the raid. Welcome, welcome. Black's next move is king on his side and GG's. I don't think I've been commentating for Jessie for a couple of tournaments now in South Africa, and let me tell you, those South African players, they don't resign early. Oftentimes they play right until the end, and rightfully so. You know, they're very welcome to continue playing, and it's also good practice because you never know when someone might mess up. She's thinking hard, yeah. Okay, so A5 played. Annika wants to go and run that pawn. Okay, but now we need to make something happen. So I vote for Queen G4, Rook G8, and then we take here. We need to exchange these knights. Our knights is just not good enough anymore. And we need to be able to walk with our pawn. So yeah. We are in the final moments of her third round game. There are 9 rounds in total. The tournament runs until May 1st. And we have some very exciting commentators coming up. Join Jessie's Discord if you want to see a list of who is joining. I know it's like Hannah Saisi and Lele Koridze and a lot of very good streamers. Yeah, just for the first 3 rounds it was just as mods, Screws and I covering. But soon there will be some other, I was going to say actual. Anyway. Thanks so much for the follow, BH team. Okay, Queen G4 played. The nice thing is that for us is that Annika doesn't have any time remaining, so it will be very difficult to play accurately. Why not take the knight with the rook? Keep our queen close to the king. Yeah. Because then you keep this alignment with 2 strong pieces on this rank. You can pick up this B pawn because you're attacking it twice without any issues. And this queen is also defending from this point. And then you can run and maybe try like this. Well, if you put your rook here, then you will have to move it again. I guess you can move it here, but then it can be attacked by Queen D5, for example. And Queen D5 would attack both the pawn and both the rook and the pawn. But it's just a matter of technique, right? At this point, it's probably interchangeable. What is my rating on chess.com? Unfortunately, I am not a chess.com player. I play on Lichess, and on Lichess, my blitz rating is 2400. I recently got a new high score, so I'm quite proud of it. So yeah, you might get sick of me being happy about that, but you need to celebrate these wins, you know. This progress. Sometimes progress is slow, and you need to be happy with those small. I don't even think it's that small. It took me a bit, and it yeah, some hard, some sweat, tears, and what's the third one? Blood. Yes, blood, sweat, and tears. Yeah. What is your rating? I should play again on my official account, but by now it's back with a question mark. And if I lose the first couple of games, then it's going to be a sad rate. Anyway, let's not think about that. Let's see who wants to take a guess. Who thinks queen takes d7 and who thinks rook takes d7? Hi, Clute. What do you think Jesse will do here? Exactly. I don't know. I don't know what she will do. I like rook takes d7. No. Well, I mean, I like queen takes d7 because then also you're offering, you're attacking the queen, right? You know, you never know. But then takes and then take here. And we just have to be a little bit careful. Are we afraid of this? Here, 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 here. Oh, she took with the queen. A lot of people said rook. Wow. Rook takes d7. Rook takes d3. That's a bit too many rooks there. Queen takes d3, yeah. And now queen takes b7, right? And then we're in business. I mean, queen. Come on, let's manifest. Queen takes b7, a4, d7, a3, rook e8. a2 takes, check. That doesn't actually work. No, check here. It doesn't work. That's crazy. Okay, how can we make this work? Queen takes a4, d7, a3. That pawn is fast. That pawn is super fast. Wow. Did I calculate that right? So takes, push, rook, push, take, king takes. And if we do a check, then the king moves. And if we promote, take, and promote. We do still have this pawn. So if we then put our queen here somewhere, it must still be winning. But we don't want to complicate it that much. Where is the mate? Well, or the promotion. Maybe if we don't take this and play queen c7, a4, d7, a3, rook e8, a2, takes, and now promote, and we have we gained a move. I think that works. How about rook e8 here? Ooh, immediately rook e8. I think my queen c7 move works because then you indeed, like, that pawn is worthless. Why spend time taking it? How many moves so far? 34. No extra time, no. Make it work by playing bad moves for black. Hello. Vaibhavastana. Directly rook e8 should be winning. Yes, okay, so let's look at that. Rook e8. And the point is, if rook e8... Oh, rook e8, a4, takes, king here, d7. Yeah. Okay, rook e8. And what if queen d5? Or maybe even, wait, rook e8, queen d4. One thing I actually also like about queen c7 is that it's defending this pawn, funnily enough. I don't like this pawn on f4. It's very loose. Two pawns holding hands on the 7th like a rook, yeah. If queen d5, then we can capture rook anyway. Yeah, queen d5 didn't do that much, but queen d4, you're looking at this and you need to be careful about any perpetuals. Okay, but Jessie has gone into the tank, making sure, calculating that she's not missing anything. Okay, who wants to vote on what her next move is? I say I'm gonna go for queen c7. I want her to play queen c7. Queen takes b5, queen b5. Queen takes b7, yes. Rook e8. Nice. Okay, so we have 3 different moves. You're with rook e8, nice. I don't know what she will pick. Queen a4, wow. Hello, Misspiration. I want to read that as Mispiration. Waterfall says c6. c6. c6 looks dangerous. c6, b takes. Queen a4 played? Wow. Well done, Misspiration. Wow. I wouldn't have guessed that. Queen a4. Nope. Yeah. I mean, I think maybe she just wants to, not calculate all the shenanigans and say, you know what, I'm just going to block your pawn, defend this one, and go running. Well found. She's also attacking a5, that also helps. Yeah, nice. Queen takes b7, c6, you can't defend both. Rook takes g7. Queen a4 is interesting because it blocks the a pawn and protects the f pawn. Exactly. Black wants, yeah. That pawn needs to promote indeed. I'm telling you, they don't resign early. Less than 1 minute left for Annika. Black will play queen c3. I like it, yeah. That makes a lot of sense. But a queen c3 and then d7 takes rook e8. And then we're excellently called. Can I play with you after this game? No, I have to run. I have to go eat dinner after this is over. Fortunately, can't continue streaming. Maybe some other time. It's equal material, easy to not resign. Exactly. It's not because there's like this giant pawn looming. It's only a dynamic advantage now. So, to be fair, she was 2 pawns down, but Jessie gave them back on purpose. Actually, now rook e8 immediately, and we have the same scenario, right? Rook e8, queen takes c5. And then we run. Push d7. d7, queen takes c5, rook e8. Yeah, next move you promote, or you almost promote. Play d7. Is that what we're thinking? Who says d7 and who says rook e8? Love how you said Jessie photo. It looks like she's wearing a crown. I would like to say that was on purpose. Hello, Decode. Never playing rook e8. She must torture her now. Inspiration was correct the last time with the queen a4 move. So maybe you have some channeling with Jessie going on. d7 is more natural. Yeah, but I found that Jessie likes to play some out-of-the-box moves from time to time. So, you know, I'm up for anything at this point. There's even rook c7 if you want to be very safe, not risk anything. 9 minutes for Jessie against 1 minute for her opponent. d7 played. Let's go. Okay. The opponent just doesn't have time to worry about it. So queen takes c5 played almost instantly. And now we are definitely expecting rook e8, right? The engine says rook e4 as one of, like, what? What is this move, rook e4? Why? I don't get it. I guess you just have time to play around a bit, but anyway, rook e8, much more natural. And now what do? Queen d6 maybe. Okay, queen c7. Interesting. Is she going to go for a technical endgame and promote? It's actually clever, because if you now take and put your queen here, then you can go there and be annoying. Queen a2. Wow. Queen a2 is super nice. Oh. That would be super nice. Oh, but queen f4? Queen f4, but you can play g3 because there's no more check. Queen a2, queen takes, and now g3 because your queen is defending. But queen a2, that would be crazy move. Maybe something calmer and play queen d4. Okay, queen d4 played. Just keep an eye on this. Now be ready to push. Okay, now it's GG's. Risk-free at this point. Because the next move you are promoting and takes. Oh, that's not how the queen moves. And then it's game over. Are we going to see a resignation now? Queen a2 was winning. Queen a2 worked. And after this, there's g3 and then you can take here. But queen d4 is equally winning. So yeah. Hey, screws. Some of us need to sleep and work tomorrow, yes. Same. But what time is it for you now? It's getting pretty late. There we go. A resignation. The names are not correct because the relay 2:30. Wow, the relay wasn't on the right board. But anyway, Jessie won. Congratulations, Jessie. Very much deserved. Great game. You gave us a bit of a fright at some points because, you know, why give back the pawns when you don't actually have to? But you knew what you were doing, and yeah, your nerves are stronger than ours. So yeah, GG's. On that note, I am going to call it a day because I also have to work tomorrow. Unfortunately. Who are we going to raid? Oh, Ellen is live. Maybe that's been a long time since I've seen her. Let's go and say hello to Ellen. Oh, okay. Let me start both raids. Oh, you already did it. Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. Thanks to Screws as well for doing the commentary this morning. And I hope you have a lot of fun in the coming days. Keep an eye out in the Discords and Jessie's Discord to see who will be streaming her adventures next. And yeah, thank you so much. Have a lovely rest of your weekend and a great week. Bye bye.